So on the 15th, we finally get to find out if HBO Max's version of The Last of Us is any good. I am curious to see if they pull it off or not. I have very, very low expectations, though. I don't know if that'll be good or bad for the show when I review it, but I'm not expecting much because, well, for one, every time a video game adaptation comes out, it's usually not very good, and some of the things that have come out about this show don't have me very excited for it. The talk of taking out expectations and stuff like that, those are never good signs. But we can at least take a look and see what people have to say about it, because we do finally have some reviews on the show. So I went over here. There's actually 40 reviews now, and it keeps changing. Yeah, now there's 38. They took some off. Look at that. There's already some strange stuff going on with this. Now, yesterday, yeah, they're still not bringing it back. Yesterday or earlier this morning, this was actually at 100%. 100%. They got one bad score in for Rotten, and that dropped it down. But that's where we're at now. It was at 100%. I've expected reviews for this to be high. I figured it would have stayed at 100%, but there are some people giving it bad reviews. But we can take a look at what some people are having to say here. The team has done an excellent job of sticking close to the source material while also breathing life into new characters along the way, creating an engaging and refreshing rendering of a popular genre story. That's from The Wrap. Then Inverse drops one. This series is its best case scenario. The original creator, a proven HBO visionary, an A-list cast, and a script that found every heartstring it could possibly pull. Here's another one, a perfectly acceptable way for those who don't know their D-pad from their analog stick to experience one of the greatest sci-fi narratives of the last decade. I actually agree with that because this is based on the first game. The first game is a really good story. The second game, not so much, but the first game is really good. Probably one of the better video game stories that I've experienced in the past decade. It's really good. If you've never played the first Last of Us, I do highly recommend it. It can be played without an expectation of a sequel. It should have never got a sequel, in my opinion. Not everything that's successful needs a sequel. Sometimes we can just leave it alone and leave the story there, but there's always, the money aspect. We've got to make a sequel. But sometimes it backfires and destroys the fandom. And Last of Us Part 2 definitely took a big swing at its own fandom. Kind of similar to Star Wars The Last Jedi. It was not very well received by half of the fan base, for sure. I think there were people that enjoyed it, but there were a lot of people that didn't. Compared to the first one, where everybody enjoyed it. That seems like the better business practice to me, is to make something that your entire fan base is going to like. Wouldn't have been that hard, but they decided to go and subvert expectations. How often does that work out, by the way? Here's the one bad review from Slant Magazine. By stripping the gameplay out of a game that's fleshed out by televisual tropes, the series ends up as mostly just the latter. That's 2 out of 4. Here's from Time Magazine. From the performances to the storytelling to the aesthetic elements, it's an exquisitely made adaptation, but it also asks viewers to absorb a whole lot of human misery without saying much that we haven't already heard in similar shows. It almost comes off as a negative, doesn't it? Doesn't that almost kind of come off as a negative? Comfortably the best adaptation of a video game ever made, one that deepens the game's dystopian lore while staying true to its emotional core. Like the game, it's a masterpiece too. This one, Empire Magazine gave it a 5 out of 5. Here's an A from Awards Watch. The Last of Us is a video game adaptation that manages to not only hit the same emotional and narrative beats of its source material, but expands upon the emotional pull by allowing audiences even more perspectives and stories inside this broken world. Here's IO9. The Last of Us has the potential to cross generations and open the eyes of non-gamers to the level of depth, complexity, and emotional capable in the medium. Good television is good television, and this is certainly that. Let's read one more. Here's from comicbook.com. The Last of Us is to be praised for helping break the video game adaptation curse that has permeated for decades for new audiences. The Last of Us is very much worth viewing as its story is still gripping even when told through a new medium. So these are pretty good reviews. I guess it comes down to if you trust critics or not, really. I'm going to check this show out because, like I said, if they screw this show up and make it unwatchable, and I don't mind little changes. I was reading an article about how the spores are different in this game. Like they've made it so the way that the virus or the fungi transmit, it's not by spores anymore. They've changed that. They've changed a few things here and there. I don't mind that as long as the story is good and they do a good job. I'll be happy. This is literally the best example of just copy and paste and you make something good. Literally, the story is there for you. So it would be hard to screw this up. But if they go on and start subverting expectations and, they run it into the ground, why the hell would you do that? That just is another dumb business decision to me because you have it already made. The story is really good for that game. All you have to do is copy it. But this kind of stuff does worry me, like this from Game Rant. I think I talked about this in a video. The Last of Us Episode 3 will include radical changes to the narrative. One supporting character from The Last of Us game will appear in the television adaptation, but his story includes some radical changes. That's probably, I was going to say Bill, yeah. So Bill was that guy that was like a hermit living outside of the city. That's who I'm guessing, and I think that's who they're talking about here. Bill. So Bill's going to have some changes. He's not a hardcore survivalist anymore or something. That wouldn't really kill interest in the game for me. Or the movie or the show. I don't even know what to call it. Show, series. That wouldn't kill my interest as long as you can get their story right and do it good and be faithful. I would be pretty happy with this show, to be honest. But I'm so used to things being ran into the ground and shit on and ruined. It's just tough to get excited for anything. So we'll see. I'm for sure going to watch. I already have HBO Max, so nothing to just pop this on and watch an hour episode on Sunday. But, they have 3 episodes to convince me. I'll wait. I'll watch it up to this one. And if this is some subverted expectation bullshit, I'm done. We'll see. But as of right now, people seem to be enjoying it. We'll have the audience score probably sometime by Tuesday, Monday, and we can get a feel for how people actually feel about it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you excited for this show? Are you going to watch it? Do you think it's going to be garbage? What are your thoughts? Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and my locals. Links below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.